everyone, today I'm here to answer some of your questions. So last week I decided to make a video and just telling you guys to ask some of your questions, and I got a lot of great questions. I'm actually making this video a two-parter, so the first one's going to be bookish questions. The second one's going to be like personal and like TV and maybe some booktube questions. So obviously today is the bookish questions, so I have about 20 questions here and hopefully I can answer them very quickly and efficiently, and let's just get right onto the questions. The first question comes from Madeline L, and she asked, what is your reading routine and what is your favorite season to read in? I don't have necessarily a reading routine. I'd say the majority of when I read is at nighttime after my son goes to sleep, and occasionally when I don't have video to film or I don't have to clean or if I don't have photos to edit, then I will read on his nap time. So pretty much my reading is when my son sleeps. So that's my reading routine, I guess, if it is a reading routine. And my favorite season to read in, I think, would have to be fall and winter. I think when it gets colder outside, there is literally nothing better than curling up in my bed or on the couch and putting blankets all around me and either drinking like hot cocoa or hot coffee and reading a book. I just love when it's really cold outside, reading inside. And that is probably my favorite seasons to read in. The next question comes from Israel Leon. Asked, what book cover on your shelf would you redesign? It's gonna have to go to Shades of Earth by Beth Revis. I really want to design this cover, number one, because I do not like the cover at all. Number two, it's not cohesive to the first two books. Like, these are the first two books covers with galactic stuff, and then we have jungle. I would redesign this in a heartbeat to match these because these are beautiful. This is not. Emma Liz asked, how many books do you roughly read a month? Is there one book that's been on your TBR for over a year? Roughly, I'd say a good reading month for me, or I'd say generally, is probably 5 to 6 books, probably leaning towards 5 books a month is what I think I average right about now. So that's pretty good. And one book that's been on my TBR shelf for a while is I Can't Reach It, but The Young Elites by Marie Lu. It's been on my shelf now for probably about 2 years. Yep. Question comes from Abby, and she asked, what is one of your favorite books that you have recently read? And that one is definitely going to have to go to Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I've talked about this a lot on my channel, but it is literally the last amazing book that I've read. ARV5500 asked, what do you like most about reading? Life lessons, morals, etc. What I like most about reading is that it takes me to another place, you know, especially with fantasy reads. I think you get transported into the world. Even with contemporary reads, you get transferred in there. You get like swept within our life. It's like I feel like I'm not even here when I'm reading. I'm in that story. So that's what I love the most about reading, is it takes you places. Jesus Lover asked, besides Harry Potter, what is your favorite series? And that's a good question. I think it's a toss-up between the any of Sarah J. Maas's books, because I love, and probably any of Cassandra Clare's books because I just love them so. So those two, I guess, would be my answer. I mean, Harry Potter's always going to be ultimate, of course. He also asked, if you could trade places with any fictional character, who would you trade places with and why? And I will have to say, obviously, Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. I think I would just like being a part of the Golden Trio and just going on those adventures, even though they're scary adventures, and it would just be fun and amazing. And Priest M asked, what are your thoughts about the Divergent finale becoming a TV movie with a spin-off instead of theaters? You know what? I don't really care about it. I know it's horrible to say, but I love Divergent. I've said that time and time again. I liked Insurgent, did not like Allegiant, and the movie Divergent I was okay with. It wasn't amazing, and I have still yet to watch Insurgent or Allegiant Part 1 because I just think they just did not even consider the book at all. They just threw it out the window and said, let's just make something totally different. So I refuse to watch those. Am I surprised this is happening? Not at all, because it didn't do well in box offices because I think it didn't stay true to the book, and it was just, I feel like Divergent was kind of hard to translate to screen because it's got such an intricate type of plot, in my opinion. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not mad about it. I'm not happy about it. I'm just blasé on the topic. Is that horrible to say? I still love Divergent, guys. I will always love me some Tristan for life. Asked, are you going to watch Fantastic Beasts and where to find them when it comes out? You bet I am. That is the number one movie I'm excited for this year, is that movie, and I'm going to watch the mess out of it. World645 asked, what is an under-the-radar book you recommend? And they said, besides The Running Dream, haha, I've already read that one. That was probably what I was going to say. You know me so well. That's a good question. I don't know of any under-the-radar books I've read this year, but I have a whole video talking about this underrated book, so I'll link it right here if you want to check it out. I think I talk about 10. It's a big wide array for you to choose from. Anderson asked, do you like the original Twilight, Life and Death better? I will always say the original Twilight because I read that when it first came out. I was an OG of that thing. I read it when I was in high school. I have such fond memories of Twilight, so I will always say Twilight, and I I think it's just better written, and it's a little bit easier to comprehend because of, they change so many things in life and death. And asked, on average, how much time do you spend per week reading? And that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I'd say if I'm really into a book at nighttime, because that's usually when I read, I'd say I can get a good hour reading in if I read every hour. If I read an hour every night, that's 7 hours a week maybe. That's probably stretching it. I would probably say around 5 hours a week, which is like, you're like, oh, how do you read so many books? It depends. Sometimes I'll have extra time. Sometimes I generally read pretty fast, so I don't know. I say 5 hours, but that is a total up in the air guess. Gabriella asked, how long did it take you to collect the amount of books you have to this day? Ever since I started BookTube, honestly. I didn't have that many books when I started BookTube, and of course BookTube just makes you buy books because that's what it does. So I would say probably about 5 years. It's been 5 years since I started this channel. See Books asks, what are your favorite fantasy reads and what are your future plans for reading now that summer is almost over? My favorite fantasy reads, the first thing that comes to mind is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, as well as the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I think those are just my favorite fantasies right now. That could change in 3 years. Who knows? Those are my favorite fantasy reads right now. My plans for reading for summer is over. Summer's usually a really good time for me to read because I don't have many weddings in July and August because it is crazy hot here, so that's when I generally have more free time because I'm not doing as many photo shoots of weddings and stuff. So, I don't know. In the fall, it usually picks back up. Hoping, just to be consistent with reading 5 books a month when it comes to September, October, November, December. Hopefully that'll happen. If not, it's okay. And JG, the awkward bookworm, asked, and she comments on my channel a lot, so hi JG, I do read all your comments, you're great. She asked how many books do I own total, and I don't know. I was going to count, and I was like, lazy, because I am lazy. I want to say maybe 200, maybe 250. I'm gonna put my ballpark around there. If you want to get crazy and watch my bookshelf tour and count all the books, go for it, but I'm sure that would be super boring. Ambi Crafts Reads asked a whole bunch of questions. She asked, who is your favorite teacher at Hogwarts? Definitely McGonagall. Who is your favorite secondary character in Harry Potter? Oh, that's a good question. Secondary character. I also really like Luna and Ginny. I love Ginny. I've rediscovered my love for Ginny while rereading the Harry Potter books because watching the movies I was like, oh, Ginny, but then I'm rereading the books, I'm like, Ginny's pretty awesome. Hogwarts House are you in? I am a Gryffindor. I've taken several tests and I've always been a Gryffindor. I don't know if that's like truly true. The Sorting Hat would put me in Gryffindor though, like for realsies. I would love it. And do you have any used bookstores in my area? Yes, but they're not so good on the YA selection, so I do not visit them a lot. Olivia Malloy asked, what is your favorite Harry Potter book? Hands down, the third one, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I would have to say my second favorite would have to be probably Harry Potter. It'd be a tie between The Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows. I don't know, so it's a tie between them. I really feel like I love the Deathly Hallows because a lot of adventure and amazing things happen in that book. So I'd probably say that one. The seventh one's the third, and then the seventh one. Latina 08 asked, if you had to choose, would you rather read only standalone books or series for the rest of your life? And I think honestly I would have to do standalone because I love series, but I think if I had to read the same series, like for the rest of my life, I would get bored with the characters. It would get kind of repetitive. With standalones, the only qualm with that is, I would want more of the characters, but at least I would have so many more books to read with falling in love with different things. So I'd have to say standalone at this point in time. Sarah asked, do you ever feel guilty about not finishing a book? And yes and no. I think I probably do that a lot more than you guys know. Sometimes I'll start a book 50 pages in it, I'm just like, oh, I'm not feeling it. I don't feel bad because I think I have all intentions of coming back to that book in the future, and if I do come back to it in the future and I'm still not feeling it, I'm not even going to try it. So I don't feel guilty about it because I feel like I try to give every book a fair shot. So, I try to give it 50 pages, then I'll maybe put it on my shelf for a while, and then I'll come back to it, and if I'm still not really into it, then that's just how it is. I can't force myself to read something I don't want, but I don't really feel guilty for the most part now. Reese M asked, what is your least favorite book of 2016? The Love That Split the World by Leanne. I'm not going to say much more about it. After that would probably have to be Lady Renegades by Rachel Hawkins. Those are the two I think that are my least favorite from this year. Sandy Roberts asked, did you get an advance copy of Leanne Moriarty's new book, Truly Madly Guilty? If yes, did you read it? And she's still looking forward to it. No, I did not get an advance copy reader because I don't get a lot of ARCs when it comes to like the adult books department because I'm still kind of new to that, but I did already buy it. It just came out yesterday, so I've already bought it and I'm waiting to read it. I'm just kind of saving it for a rainy day. No, I'm probably going to read it really soon. And believe you me, when I read it, I will review it because I love me some Liam Moriarty. Bookish Cat asks, what Sarah Dessen book should I read first? That is a great question. I get this question a lot, I think, and I just have so many different answers. I would say my favorites of hers are Saint Anything, Just Listen is a great one, The Truth About Forever. Oh, I love The Truth About Forever. Maybe start with that one. That's a great one. I give you 4. Saint Anything, I would say Truth About Forever, and then I would say Saint Anything, then I would say Lock and Key, and then Just Listen. I would say those 4. Start with any one of those, you'll be fine and dandy. Another Sarah Dessen question, Jackie asks, how did you get into reading Sarah Dessen books? And it's an interesting story. I think I found Sarah Dessen when I was about 16, and was a friend of a friend was talking about Sarah Dessen, and she loves her book so much, and then I decided to try reading it, and that's how I found Sarah Dessen, and ever since then I've been obsessed with Sarah Dessen. So I don't even remember her name. Because she was a friend of a friend of like a friend. You know, some obscure person has introduced one of my favorite authors to me. So that's just insane how that can happen to you. You may not even know a person that well, but then they show you the doors to this amazing author, and you just fall in love, and you owe all that. I owe that person so many like feelings and happiness because she introduced me to Sarah Dessen. So thank you, whoever you are. I think her name was Sherry. Yes. Her name was Sherry. Yeah, so thank you, Sherry, for introducing me to Sarah Dessen. Last question is from Christina, and she asks, are you Alina, Tibby, Bridget, or Carmen, which is all of the Sister of the Traveling Pants? I would have to say I've always identified myself as Alina because she's artistic and kind of quiet, and I felt like I'm like her, but then as I get older, I get a little bit more open to, you know, just be talkative and stuff. Like I'm a half between Carmen and Alina. I feel like those, I got the artistic side, but I can also be very fiery and just speak my mind and, you know, all that kind of stuff, which just resembles Carmen. So I'd probably say those two I would recognize me most with. Oh, are you guys tired? I'm tired. I feel like I answered those rapid fire. I hope that's okay. But anyway, this was part 1 of my Q&A, and look out for my part 2 coming up really, really soon. I'm going to film it right after this. It's going to be all my personal and other various type of questions. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any more questions, please leave them down below. And don't forget to hit subscribe. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.